Hello, this is Chris Dudley with the Dudley Real Estate Group, and I am here with Brian Freese with Frontline Exteriors, and he's going to talk to us about windows.
Thanks for having me, Chris. And here at Frontline Exteriors, we do specialize in window replacement as well as door replacement. And it ranges from anything from 3 window jobs to 300 window jobs and everything in between.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's get started. So, Brian, tell me, what are the signs that windows need to be replaced?
There's a lot of signs to look for. One primary sign is anything to do with rotting wood. So if you notice either on the framing of the windows or the sashes of the windows that any of the wood is rotting, paint chipping, wood is softening, those are all great signs that your windows need to be replaced. Other signs to look for include draftiness in the windows. So, especially in the winter, if you can feel cold air coming through, that's a huge red flag and a sign that windows need to be replaced. Another major sign is seal failure to look at. If the seals have failed internally in the glass units for your window, that's a sign that the efficiency features of your windows are totally failing. And an easy way to tell that is if you have any fogginess actually inside the window that you can't clean from the inside or the outside, it's stuck in the window. That's a red dead sign that your windows most likely need to be replaced. And another major issue that a lot of homeowners run into is just the lack of operational ability of the windows. So, for example, the windows can't open and close easily, they're very hard to use. A lot of homeowners stop using their windows because they're actually afraid that they're going to break them because they're becoming so old and brittle. So, those are all great signs that your windows do need to be replaced. And there's a couple other things to look for depending on the style of window you have, the kind of window, the size of window, and everything like that. But those would be the main things to look for your window needing to be replaced.
Great. Brian, what type of windows are best in 2025? Vinyl, wood, aluminum?
That's a great question, Chris. And it's all going to depend necessarily on the features and style of the home that we're looking at installing these new windows into. Now, 9 times out of 10, vinyl windows nowadays are going to be perfect for any job. And the reason that I say that is because nowadays with vinyl windows, there are so many technological advances that allow for total customization, meaning that the windows can be made two-tone windows, so white on the inside and tan, black, or brown on the outside, or even custom colors. Um, so vinyl windows will really fit the need for 9 out of 10 jobs nowadays because they're totally customizable. They can be made in all kinds of windows, all sizes, all colors, and they come with every kind of energy efficiency feature imaginable. And nowadays, the way the windows are being manufactured, vinyl windows actually come with a lifetime warranty as well. So they provide premium energy efficiency. They provide totally premium customization options in which you're able to match almost any style or aesthetic that you would be looking for your home. And the durability and longevity that vinyl windows nowadays provide put them above other window options such as aluminum, which is more outdated, and wood as well, which does require kind of extreme maintenance. So vinyl, in terms of durability, customization, energy efficiency, you get kind of the best of the best by selecting vinyl, but you're also not necessarily paying over the moon for certain other kinds of windows, such as wood, which is more costly and does require more maintenance.
So, Brian, you mentioned in another section about maintaining windows, and that can be different per window. Maybe you could go into how it's different for vinyl, wood, and aluminum windows and how one should maintain a window.
That's a great question. We always recommend vinyl because of the fact that they're essentially maintenance free. For example, to maintain vinyl windows, the only maintenance that is required is occasionally cleaning the glass. Some people do it every spring, some people do it every other year, but it's very easy with vinyl windows to just clean the glass. When you are using other kinds of windows, such as wood or aluminum, many times you're required to actually paint the windows, repaint them every other year, or sometimes at first maybe closer to every 5 years. But once you get 10 or 20 years into the life of the window, you're going to be repainting that wood window on the entire exterior of the home every 2 years, which most people would consider a little bit too much maintenance
Yeah.
for the windows in their house. So that's why we always recommend vinyl, because they're essentially maintenance free and they last a lifetime. Whereas other windows like wood or aluminum do require painting every other year, which can add up to a lot of money and a big headache.
Tell me, what are the benefits of replacing windows versus just repairing potentially the damaged part of the window?
So, what's amazing about doing total window replacement is that you never have to worry about any aspect of your windows again. Totally maintenance free with premium vinyl windows, and you don't have to worry about going back and touching anything up, or kicking the can down the road and having to deal with it later. And also, by replacing your windows totally, you're going to not only enjoy the beauty of new windows in your home, but you're also going to get a much bigger payback in terms of the efficiency of the windows when it comes to heating and cooling your home. When you're talking about just replacing your windows, it sometimes can be appropriate as more of a short-term fix or a short-term option for maybe one window here or there. But it is very likely, if most of the windows in your house need some type of repair, that it would be a lot more efficient for you as a homeowner to just look at replacing your windows instead of just kicking the can down the road a little bit, where maybe you can repair your windows and maybe it can offer a short-term fix, but it's very likely that in the following years that fix will kind of erode or wear off, and you're going to end up needing to replace your windows in a matter of a couple years anyways.
Right.
And typically, when you do repair a window and there's something wrong with just one part of the window, the rest of the window is not far behind it. And it's very likely that there's going to be stuff wrong with the rest of the window coming up very shortly as well. We always opt for replacement over repair because homeowners are much more happy with that. They don't have to come back and ever do any more work or any more repairs. When you replace it one time, you're totally done and you never have to worry about the windows again.
All right, can you let me know what is the difference between vinyl windows from 20 plus years ago and windows of today?
Yeah, that's great, Chris. When we're looking at vinyl windows that were installed 20 years ago, especially into new builds and new construction of homes, a lot of the vinyl windows that were being used back then are what's considered nowadays a builder grade vinyl window, meaning that the technology back then wasn't using 100% pure virgin vinyl. It was using a lot of recycled chalk and plastics and recycled vinyl to actually make the windows, which is why you see a lot of vinyl bleeding for those old 20-year-old builder grade vinyl windows. You also see a lot of seal failure because the vinyl windows of 20 years ago were built with metal seals that are in the internal glass unit containing the argon gas in the window, which is why most of those 20-year-old vinyl windows have actually lost their argon gas and lost their energy efficiency. And you also notice a weaker construction of the 20-year-old vinyl windows. A lot of them are screwed and glued together at the frames, whereas new vinyl windows, premium vinyl windows of 2025, are actually fusion welded at the frames. So that's the big difference. The vinyl windows that were primarily used 20 years ago, especially on new builds and new construction, were builder grade vinyl windows, and they didn't have a lot of the technological advances that new vinyl windows have nowadays. Whereas nowadays, the windows are made out of 100% pure virgin vinyl, built to last with the fusion welded frames. They have different reinforcements inside the frames to ensure that the windows stay in place and over the years no gaps or draftiness occur. And also nowadays, the energy efficiency features are very superior, where you have acrylic seals instead of metal that actually expand and contract at the same rate as the glass and vinyl to ensure that there's no seal failure ever. And you keep that argon gas inside the window, which keeps the windows very energy efficient for your home.
Okay, sounds like lots of differences in the last 20 years. That's great.
Yeah, things have changed a lot.
Hey, Brian, I get asked often when I'm at a house, should people have triple pane, double pane? I know a lot of older homes that were built before 1985 tend to have a single pane, so really losing a lot of energy from that. Can you talk more about the different types of pane of window?
That's a great question, and it's one that I get all the time too. The short answer, I guess, would be that triple pane is not necessarily required here in the mid-Atlantic climate that we live in. I was born and raised in Northern Virginia, so this weather is all I've known my whole life. We get all four seasons. We get the hot, we get the cold, we get everything in between. But with the technological advances and energy efficiency features that have been made nowadays, double pane windows with the low E coat on the exterior pane and the argon gas interior fill are more than enough for this climate. Now, I do work with some homeowners that have specialty areas in their home that I do end up recommending that they might go with triple pane windows for. For an example, if they have a bedroom that is always colder than the rest of the house, or maybe a sunroom or an office that they're always in that might be a little bit more exposed than the rest of the house, or might have a lot more glass in it. Sometimes we do tend to upgrade maybe certain areas of the home to triple pane, but I always recommend to people that you don't need to fill your entire house with triple pane windows. You know, we don't live in Alaska here. We don't live in the desert of Arizona. We have a more, relatively moderate climate where double pane windows with superior energy efficiency features are more than enough to properly insulate your home. And they're also able to actually qualify for Energy Star tax credit savings, even just with double pane windows.
Good to know. Thank you. Brian, from start to finish, what is the process of ordering windows with you? How long does it take to get the order to the window installation? And then, of course, how long does it take to install the windows?
Yeah, so it's hard to necessarily give an exact timeline. The reason being with window jobs, there's a lot of different variations and factors, and certain things can add to the lead time and the time it takes to manufacture windows. For example, tempered safety glass, any shaped windows, or decorative glass in any windows or doors that are accompanying the project. But from start to finish, typically a window job will take about 8 weeks for the entire process. The first week or so is going to come down to remeasuring the window and making sure that every single window is measured exactly to 1/8 of an inch to be custom manufactured for your home. After that, we would place the order for the windows to be manufactured, which will typically take anywhere from between 4 to 6 weeks for the windows to be actually made and shipped. And then after that, it depends on the amount of windows, but the installation itself ranges from typically 1 day, or maybe if it's 100 windows, it could take an entire week. But usually, typically from between 1 to 3 days for the actual installation of the windows with cleanup and everything. So you're usually looking at about 8 weeks from when you purchase the windows to when the job will actually be completed.
And that's mainly because everything is custom based on this specific house. It's not like you go to Home Depot, pick out the window you want, and that's what you're installing, right?
That's exactly right, Chris. So we don't have these windows sitting on a shelf ready to put in your home. We custom make these windows for every single home and every single job that we do. So that's what leads to the lead time. We want to make sure that these windows fit exactly perfectly in your home and are installed properly. So that is what leads to the 6 to 8 week lead time, is that every window job is custom manufactured to fit your home.
Good to know. Thank you. Here's a bit of information about what you should not do when dealing with your windows, and that is power washing. Brian, can you tell me a little about power washing and how that affects the integrity of a window?
Yeah, simply put, do not power wash your windows. Anything with high pressure, you want to avoid power washing your windows because you are liable to damage them. It's easier to damage windows than you think, especially when you're using high pressure power washing. The easier way to clean the outside of your window is just more so making sure the windows are locked, making sure they're closed and sealed. And then you can easily either hire a company to clean the glass of the windows, or you can do it yourself with a hose and chemical treatments as well. But you never want to power wash your windows. You are likely to do damage to your windows and also possibly have some water infiltration with the high pressure power washing.
And I'm sure that will probably affect the warranty on the window as well, correct?
That is correct. You're not going to be able to make any warranty claims, especially under damage that occurred during power washing.
I'm sure everybody wants to know this. How much should it cost for window installation? And also, what are the warranties that are usually offered by you as a window company? But also, what happens if, God forbid, you went out of business? Who then is the warranty company for the window?
Yeah, Chris, that's the magic question, right? That's kind of what everybody wants to know. How much should all of this cost me? And again, it's going to depend and be determined on exactly the specifications for your project. Are they standard sized windows? Are they massive windows? Are they standard white vinyl windows? Are they painted different colors? So that, of course, will all affect the overall cost of the project, as well as how many windows you're replacing at once. But generally speaking, if you could imagine the most basic small basement sliding window, those would kind of be on the lower end because it's a very standard white vinyl window, small basement window, closer to maybe $600 per window with the material, labor, warranty included. And some of the, large 80-inch by 80-inch windows, of course, are going to cost more than that. On the higher end, you should expect to be paying no more than a little bit over 1,000 per window. But odds are that if you're replacing an entire house of windows, you're likely to be paying less than $1,000 per window, even if you do have some very large windows. And that, again, is for material, labor, lifetime warranty, everything included. So that's kind of the price range, which depends on the construction of your home and the kind of windows that you want. But on the lower end, about $600 per window. If they're very, very large windows and shaped windows with tempered glass, they can tend to get above $1,000 per window. But again, even if you do have windows like that, it's likely that not every window in your house is as large as that and has, shapes or anything. So if you are replacing a whole house of windows, it's very likely that you should be paying less than $1,000 a window. And this is still for premium vinyl windows with the best energy efficiency features and a lifetime warranty. So kind of that $600 to $1,000 range is where you should expect to be. If you're looking at any prices of 1,500 a window or anything over that, you're starting to get a little bit crazy with the pricing. So that's kind of where we look, is between 600 and 1,000, depending on the specifications of your job.
Brian, how much should new windows cost? Let's say, for example, a townhouse in Northern Virginia with, say, 15 standard windows, vinyl.
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. 15 standard windows, white vinyl in a townhouse should cost you about $800 per window, material, labor, warranty included. Now, these things can fluctuate a little bit depending on the size of the windows and if there's any custom upgrades or features, but right around $800 per window for a 15 window kind of standard order with grids in the window and everything like that included is what you should expect as a homeowner.
Cool. And that, of course, as we know, changes based on the size. If it's a custom size window, larger, wider, and if you're changing that to wood windows or aluminium windows, there's a lot of different things that could fluctuate that price. But just for people sort of tuning in, wondering how much is it going to cost me, probably around $800. Good. Thank you very much. There's a lot of companies out there that do charge a lot more money. And I think are they fluffing the price? Are they just hyping up the price so they can get more profit out of it? Should windows cost $2,000 per window, or is that what would be the reason for that? Sorry.
No, it's a great question, and I'm well aware of the companies that are out there charging that. I'm not going to go throwing any names around, but the best way to answer your question would be yes, they are fluffing the price. Some of these companies have $50 million marketing budgets and offices full of employees in a call center that are calling people all day. So when you're doing business with them and you're paying $2,000 a window, it's not because the windows actually cost that much. It's not because the installers are any different than installers that we're using or any other company. It simply is because they're just big bloated companies with massive overhead, and they're trying to pay 50 different things with your window job. So you're not just paying for the windows, you're not paying for the installation, you're also paying for their marketing budget, all the staff they have in the call center, the state-of-the-art cafeteria they have at their office, which I've seen. It's a nice cafeteria. But they are overinflating their prices. The windows do not cost that much. In my opinion, homeowners are getting taken advantage of when paying that much for windows.
Can you tell me a little bit about your warranty on the windows? And if, God forbid, you went out of business, who would then potentially take over the warranty?
Yeah, so at Frontline Exteriors, we offer a totally full, non-prorated lifetime warranty on our window installation. And that includes material and labor as well. Just meaning that down the line, if any issues ever occur with your windows, you're totally covered. We'll come out, inspect the issue. If we need to order a new part or piece of the window, we go ahead and order that, being the material that you're covered for on the warranty. And with our warranty, you're covered with the labor, meaning that we'll come out and fix the issue and you don't have to pay for the material or labor because it's covered under your warranty. Now, our warranties are also fully transferable, meaning that if you ever sell your home, you can actually transfer it to the next homeowner and their warranty would still be intact.
That's great.
Now, to answer your question as well about, for whatever reason, 20 years from now, if we were out of business or anything happened, that's one of the best part about our warranties, is that it's actually fully double backed by Provia, the manufacturer of the windows, meaning that they assume any warranty for their windows. So if 20 years goes by and there's a faulty lock on one of the windows that won't lock or won't operate properly, you go to call your window installer, and for whatever reason, they're not around anymore. Provia fully assumes the warranty on material and labor, meaning that you can call them, they'll send one of their technicians out to come inspect and order any parts that need to be replaced and totally fix your window for you free of charge, which is one of the main reasons why Provia is such a preferred manufacturer for windows, because they do double back every warranty.
Hey, Brian, if people want to contact you to potentially get work done, how can they reach you?
The easiest way to get in contact with us is you can just give me a call at 703-286-9363. You can give me a call there. You can shoot me a text with any questions or details. I'd be more than happy to help you. You can also visit our website at frontlineexteriors.net, which is very informative, has some information about us. And there's also an application form that you can fill out where we'll actually reach out and contact you about your project. And very simply, we would be very happy to just give you a free quote. Typically, the quote takes about 30 minutes to an hour if it's a larger project. And we just give you all the information, all the details for your job, and leave that with you. But the easiest way to reach us would be to call me at 703-286-9363, and I'd be happy to help you.
Great. Thanks so much, Brian.
Perfect.
Hey guys, this is Chris Dudley with the Dudley Real Estate Group, and I just met with one of our vendors, Brian Fries with Frontline. He can do windows, siding, anything with your exterior. He's a great resource for you. Reach out to him. Brian, thanks again. It was a pleasure meeting you today.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. It was a pleasure getting on this call with you, and thank you for everything you do, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, you too.